Well, Nikki, I want to let you know, Nikki, Svengalis made another video about you. So.
Damn, already?
Yeah, she done made some other shit that came across my phone. Yeah. Let her know that Svengalis made another video about her. So, there it is.
You begging to be a sidekick to Remix? Really? I thought you was a sidekick to Rap G. God damn.
Yeah, she kind of choosy.
You begging to be a sidekick to the Smoke guy?
Anti-Afro Svengalis. I need to stop the clips at this point to point out a common denominator these three brothers have that NPW mentioned. And by the way, NPW has resumed her sexual harassment and threats of violence in these YouTube streets. So the common denominator with these three brothers is all three handled NPW with expert precision. In their own way. Three unique styles. All three were highly effective. She sought out to get something from these three brothers that they weren't going to give her. And that's how she operates. She's doing the same with me. She thinks she's going to be able to get something out of me that she will never get. Number one, she wants me to respond as she does. She wants me to get on some panel and demon down and ghetto down with her. That will never happen. I'm solution focused when it comes to situations like this. And I absolutely am putting forth a solution. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But before I do that, I want to bring up an issue that has been brought to my attention. I actually had no intention of addressing any of this because there have been all of these, little sparks being placed around in these YouTube blocks. And people obviously are trying to get me to run around to each one of these little sparks and pour kerosene on all of them so they can blaze up. That's not anything I even considered doing. But I am going to mention one particularly bizarre accusation or claim that was leveled against me. That I was involved or part of some sort of group, or AFW was part of the women's network protection. The first I ever heard of this group was during a live stream on Photon's page. Somebody was up there talking about the group who said they were a member of the group, but the person was also cursing me, Rev G, other people in the chat, using gender attacking language. And I'm thinking, how can this be part of, or even threaten to beat someone up? I'm going to kick your ass. Meet me here. Come here to my city and blah, blah, blah. I'm going, well, that's really strange. You're complaining about how you say men mistreat women in these YouTube streets, and you're engaging in the same conduct. With the gender attacking language, the threats of violence, degrading people as part of a conflict resolution. I was like, that's not credible. But after that, I didn't think anything else of it. Then this claim started floating around that AFW and or me was associated with this group. And looking at the people in the group, I mean, who would even consider that as a valid claim? And that's why I didn't mention anything until more people who were associated with me started asking me about it. So let me make it clear again. I do not consider it credible if you're putting forth a plan to protect women and you're allowing members of your own group to engage in the behavior that you're complaining about. You don't have credibility. Now, let's get back to one point I mentioned. Breaking the Culture of Silence went over there and did an interview on one of their platforms. And I'm going, this is very interesting. How there was at least one person there, or primarily one person there, who was acting as if she, I don't want to say knows me like that, because when you say know me, that means you really know a person, but was acting as if we had some sort of engagement throughout the years that I've been on YouTube, and that's false. The same thing would apply to Rev G. I had to ask Gerald, do you know this person? Have you ever spoken to this person? And he will tell me sometimes yes. If he says yes, and that's the end of it, that means there's a frame of reference. But when he tells me no, I've never had a conversation with this person. So I put that in the same category. She was talking about Rev G as if they've had this ongoing, even if you're in a chat and you're talking back and forth, at least you've had some engagement. But he said he hasn't had any engagement with her either. But she was up there talking as if she is basing her opinions and beliefs on interaction with us. And that's false. No one in that group has ever had any sort of sustained engagement with me. There were 2 people who were briefly on AAS channel, and they were removed because they were disrespectful. Aside from that, I don't have any engagement with anybody in that group. I'm making it very clear. I don't appreciate people running around here, honestly, acting as if they have had long-term contact with me and they can speak with authority based on that claim. Now, you can give an opinion all day long, but your opinion is not based on any engagement with me. That is just your opinion, and you are free to have an opinion. I don't know what the motive would be for people to claim that they know someone. I don't claim I know people I don't know. If I don't know you, I don't know you. I give my opinion. I don't act as if I have some inside information on you when I don't, or inside communication with you when I don't. To me, it's really lacks integrity to make such claims, but I'm not associated with this group. I've never participated in any of their activities or functions or anything like that. And I think it's very interesting. I'm not getting away from NPW. I haven't forgotten how NPW is with this group. She is the most prolific sexually harassing individual in these YouTube streets. She is probably classified as worse than let me see your handcuffs, because I never heard let me see your handcuffs threaten anyone with violence. So I'd say NPW is the top queen of the underbellies, with let me see your handcuffs running in a close second. So let me talk about the resolution that I put forth, because as I stated earlier, NPW somehow is just desperate for me to get on some stage with her and ghetto down and demon down. Of course, she has to lie to try to keep the whole story going. She claims that I've been talking about her in every live stream that I've been in. Well, that means you can produce over the last 10 live streams that I have participated in. That means you can produce at least 10 screenshots. And of course, she doesn't produce anything. She just makes a statement so she can justify a way of trying to start crap with me again. Not going to work. I am never going to respond to you in the manner you want me to. Absolutely, it's a joke for you to consider yourself to be instilling any fear in me. That never will happen. What she does, she gets angry because I don't respect her. How are you going to get angry if somebody doesn't respect you? If someone doesn't respect you, you know what you're supposed to do? Move on and don't deal with that person. She doesn't even know how to do that. She thinks she can force me into respecting her for that raggedy ass doctorate degree that she has that was littered with all of these errors. I don't have respect for you. Never had, never will. This is the only way that I would ever have a conversation with NPW. She would have to undergo an exorcism. Then we would have to get the certificate of successful completion and be able to talk to the priest who performed the exorcism. Because I'm telling you right now, based on what you're going to hear, based on what you have heard, this is nothing but a full-blown demon-possessed individual. Her statements are becoming more bizarre. Her behavior is becoming more erratic. Her threats are becoming more violent. She has no control. This type of spirit is demonic, and I will not engage with any such spirit or any such individual. Get yourself an exorcism, lady. Cleanse yourself, because you're out of control. You want us to believe that you have a husband that's not a punk? No decent man, I don't care if it's a husband or a boyfriend, is going to allow his woman to get up in these YouTube streets and act the way she does. And if she did, she wouldn't be his woman. Who in the hell wants to be embarrassed like this? This is embarrassing. Downright embarrassing. And if she wants to talk about, let me tell you this, I got to tell you this. For some reason, she thinks that she's hurting my feelings if she talks about my parents. She's like, she's fixated on my parents and was talking about my dad. Well, my dad would never ever hear me say the things that you say. So let's get the audio, let's get the transcripts together. And if each of our dads were to read and hear what each of his daughters had stated, I don't have any concern or question about what my dad would say. Maybe there's a couple things he would be raising his eyebrows about, but he would not be ashamed of me in anything that I said or did. You cannot say the same. It's embarrassing for women that you're acting like this. And then you run around with this, I got this doctorate degree. Well, Photon, this is for you, if you choose to cover it. Nikki Proctor Walden, NPW, got a doctorate degree from a university that accepts 93% of the people who apply. So anybody can get in. And your dissertation committee was only made up of 3 people. It should have been 4. That probably accounts for the reason why they allowed you to pass a dissertation on that was littered with errors, including saying, I honor my husband. Last but least, you are married to a Jimmy. You act like you're married to a Jimmy. You think all men will respond to you trying to control people who are Jimmys, and you're learning the hard way. So you've been run off all these panels because you thought you can get up there literally in front of the world and control all of these dudes, and you saw it blew up in your face. She will never learn because all she thinks is effective is they're becoming increasingly threatening, increasingly vulgar, increasingly disgusting, increasingly sexually harassing. It's sexual harassment, what you are doing, and it is a crying shame that she's connected herself with a women's protection network where they're all fooling themselves. Based on that interview that I heard with Breaking the Culture of Silence, there was only one person that basically made sense and was consistent with her statements, except I fault your sister for not calling out the other women who were making these gender attacking statements and these degrading statements, in particular NPW. I suggest you break off and you create your own organization, because you're the only one up there that sounded like you had any sense. And let me tell you about sense. That means you don't contradict yourself and you're not a hypocrite. And I'm not referring to, I can change my mind about something. When you're making 2 separate statements, depending on who you're talking to, that is hypocrisy. To complain and whine about being mistreated or disrespected, and you're disrespecting everybody else, you're a hypocrite. That organization is useless. There's no point to it. But to the one sister there, branch off and create your own group with people who have the same mindset that you do, and call out those women for the crap that they were doing. You don't do that, you cannot distinguish yourself from them. Those individuals attack other women constantly, sexually harass people, lie on people, and if you want to be associated with that, that's your choice. I want to say this, and this actually goes out to everyone listening. I fully realize there are people in these YouTube streets that consider sexual harassment and threats of violence to be entertainment and fun. They laugh at it, right? This is very different from off-color jokes, kind of maybe crossing the line a little bit. Maybe, oh my God, I couldn't believe you went there. But the intentions are very different. NPW getting up on a platform, and keep in mind, it's not her platform she's getting up on and doing this, it's your platform. That she's getting up on these platforms and engaging in sexual harassment. She's getting on your platform and she's making threats of violence. So that puts your platform at risk because that's where she's engaging in this conduct. Take note again that she's not going to her page and setting up live streams to talk like this. She'd rather put your pages at risk. If you so choose to take that risk, you so choose to take that risk. But I'm letting everyone know I'm going to report each and every time I am notified of her sexually harassing and her threatening comments. And she made those comments, and I'm going to let you hear those comments on the back end of this video. You know exactly where she was when she made these statements. Let me let you all know who don't know. In October of 2021, I filed a complaint against Nikki for sexual harassment and threats of violence. I will continue to report you each and every time you sexually harass me or threaten me with violence. No reputable employer wants to be associated with somebody engaging in this conduct, and she's supposed to be a public servant. The fact that she claims to be working for the president, she has some, administrative position. Well, human resources overtakes the president because human resources is responsible for following equal opportunity employment laws, which include laws against sexual harassment. And your university has a 24/7 responsibility. It is not limited to you being associated with the university during your official duties. I mean, think about this, people. You can be a fireman, right? And you have to follow all the rules while you're a fireman between your shift, whatever, the 12-hour shift. Once you get off your shift, you can do whatever the hell you want, right? And there will be no consequence. FYI, there was a fireman in Florida who was acting so nice to the ladies to get them on his good side. He was taking them on dates. And the second they went home, he turned incredibly violent. And I believe a couple times he took them to his place. And I think he lived with his mother or brother, and they weren't home. And they said he became so incredibly violent and forced them into sex or coerced them into sex. And they were just completely confused about the discrepancy between who you are as a professional, how you're engaging me in a personal level. This is the same situation. She's prepared, according to her, to perpetrate violence on people because of what they say. I don't fear you at all, Nikki Proctor Walden. You don't instill a single shred of fear in me. I'm pointing out the hypocrisy that you present, like I just described with this fireman. So he ended up going to trial, but on the eve of the trial, there was a plea bargain, and I think it was 7 years that he got. I mean, it was a serious plea bargain because there were several women he assaulted, and they just couldn't bear to go stand on a witness stand to recount what happened to them. Now, there are people over here that would just, these people have their autopilot activated, their knee-jerk response in full swing, in response to people who dare to report they have been on the receiving end of threats of violence and sexual harassment. They try to find any way they can to lay blame and lay guilt on people who have every right to report what they have been subjected to. Who the hell is somebody to tell you you can't seek recourse through a legal intervention? Of course they want you to keep it on YouTube, where YouTube likely won't do something about it. Likely doesn't mean they won't. Likely won't do something about it. That's why they want you to keep it on YouTube. Once you take it off YouTube, they lose essentially 100% control. And that's the situation that Nikki Proctor Walden is in. She wants to continue to hop on your panel where you are put at risk for losing your channel so she can sexually harass and threaten people. But she doesn't want any external intervention, what she's already had before with the October 2021 complaint filed. She don't want outside intervention. She wants you all to allow her to continue to do what she's doing. She's only going to get short-term relief. And the short-term relief is you all laughing at her in the moment, you all supporting her and saying she should do this. But you're not going to be there to give her any relief when she has to face these consequences. You're not going to have anything to do with that. Are you going to have anything to do with that? You're going to go vouch for her when she was on your platform, sexually harassing people and threatening people with violence? You're going to try to find a way to get as much distance as you can. So yeah, the short-term relief that we see out here, and there's other people doing this. And here's the funny part. A lot of these people doing it are in that federal lawsuit. And that's another video. She's trying to find these people to serve them with the court documents. And they're running all over the United States and trying to hide out, but they want to be big and bad and get on YouTube. But again, that's another video. Discrepancy between your professional assertions and how you engage on an interpersonal level. There is a serious disconnect. And Nikki Proctor Walden thinks because she has a doctorate degree, just like Dumpsy, that we have to endure her bullshit. Well, you were wrong. I won't endure any of your bullshit. You will never be able to impact me. You and your flunkies or your co-demons, you will never be able to impact me in the way you so desperately want to. If you sexually harass me, if you threaten me, I will report you and I will report the page that you were on. I am not seeking to appease any enemies. You all are the ones harassing me. Dumpsy got into this situation because what? He stalked me and Rev G over to Conscious TV's page. That's what happened, in addition to other people. Do you recognize people that T-Pre had been over to Conscious TV's page long before we were? Dumpsy didn't follow her over there and start any shit. He followed us over there and got this started. So did other people. Your stalking behavior, your obsessive behaviors are out of control. You can try to claim anything you want about me. My video postings are responses like you see and hear now. As a matter of fact, I haven't even responded to even 1/3 of the bullshit that Nikki Proctor Walden has spoken about me. I do not accept any label you choose to place on me. You are not the decision maker about anything that will happen. You don't run this channel. You don't run me. You're not going to tell me what I'm going to say, who I'm going to say it about, when, where, and how. I am repeating, you choose to have Nikki Proctor Walden on your platform and allow her to sexually harass me and threaten me with violence. I'm going to report you to YouTube. If YouTube doesn't do something about it, I will find someone who will address the matter. I filed a complaint against you before. I will file one again. And I already have audio. You're going to hear what Nikki Proctor Walden has been saying. And here's the appalling thing. She's up here talking about how she's grieving her father. Listen to this, what she's doing. I'm still grieving my dad. I just have a couple more weeks to go through my grieving stage. And then I'm not going to even tell you what she was saying. You're not going to subject me to your sexual harassment or your threats of violence without me reporting you. If I gave a damn about what anybody thought, I wouldn't be doing what I am doing. You need to find entertainment somewhere else. I will not be your entertainment for sexual harassment and threats of violence. If other people so choose to allow you to do that, that is their choice. Now, you all know I have much more to say and will say it. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.